Thanks.
Professions, isn't it? From a council point of view, where does this sit in the council's scheme of all things? This area, as the SAP, is not that well known in the rest of our local government area. With the Snowy 2 project and what's happening in Coombe, people are concentrating on that. If you're looking at Bombala, you're looking at the mill and the loss of timber in the bushfires, they're struggling to keep their mill going and keeping their progress going down here. So any submissions you put in will be from this area. From a council point of view, thanks that we got the extra few days, I think it was an extra 10 or something added on to the list for the consultation, which was good. There has been submissions looking at 2 or 3 months, but I agree with what's said here. If we go too long, we're going to lose it. But I think the big thing for council is that this is a one-off project. We will never get this opportunity again. We will never. This is the most complicated of the 6 SAPs around the state of New South Wales. If you look at our local government area, we've got Snowy 2, as I've just mentioned, and we've got the SAP here. They would be the 2 biggest projects in any of the regional New South Wales. That's why everything's being so pressured at the moment. All I can say is get your submissions in and go to any meetings as well as you can to actually get the information. From the point of view from council is interested in getting their planning done. As I say, we will grow no matter what's going to happen. We've seen it in the last 5 or 6 years through the merge. It's been a big difference between now and 5 years ago. The prices of houses have gone up, people are moving in, they've realised COVID's changed the whole scene. If we don't get it this time, it means that any of the infrastructure, water, sewage, garbage, all that sort of stuff, won't be paid by the state government through the SAP. If we take too long, it'll be paid through collection of rates and charges to the developer. If we can get that infrastructure done, that'll encourage the developer to come in and do the work of the private enterprise. That's what council's been told, and I think that's what council's agreed with. One thing that I think we should also pressure for, and it's come through on the SAP, this will be the last comment, is that what they have discovered is the social, family and community services in this area are down near the gutter somewhere. They should be up here. We have a population here of tourists and what have you. We've fought for 30 years to get a statutory library that sits in one spot. Now we're going to get one behind the Memorial Hall, 500 square metres of it. That's taken well over 25, 30 years to get it there. They're the sort of things we need in the community with this growth. I'm glad you mentioned those figures, but when you actually look at those figures, what we turn and you think about 20 or 30 years ago, the population here will just go cold. That has to be planned properly. That's why they're doing this. And that's only going to be done by the submissions and the work being done now. So put them in. Don't be frightened to have a go. Good on you. Thanks.
One of the aspects of whenever you build stuff, like brand new stuff, there's obviously a lot of waste. Sustainability is huge. We live in an absolutely pristine area, and I'd like to introduce you now to Jason Gamble, who's going to be talking about sustainability and his business, Rethink. I think he's got 3 arms to it. He's going to talk about it, and this one here I'm particularly interested in as a follower of permaculture, everything having more than one purpose, and reusing, recycling. Pretty important. Is that what we're talking about tonight, isn't it? Come and talk to us. You've got so many good ideas, I don't know what you're going to talk about.
Hi, I'm Jason. Most of you know me. I've got a few projects up in the air at the moment, the hot air balloons, the flight boards. Now the most latest one is the land-based battery sports, which is on that small piece of paper that, if you could please take one and pass it along. So here I'm just going to talk about the experience side of it, Rethink experience. Just quickly. We've got the one-wheelers, which I've got here. We've got off-road skateboards, off-road scooters, little battery-powered balance bike, kids bike that can take up to 65 kilos, and then an adult battery-powered bike. Now it's not a mountain bike, doesn't have any suspension. It's more like a cruiser bike, so you can have 2 lighter adults on it. So I'm not one to compete with people who are already doing things. So that's why I chose this bike, as to not compete with, like Sacred Ride, any of those other people who are already doing stuff. And that's also, we've got the flight boards, which I've talked about before, and the hot air balloons. Hot air balloons are going pretty well. I'm still optimistic, especially if I can find someone to chuck in some coin for a sponsorship of getting a permanent balloon stationed here. Currently, the trial for the hot air ballooning runs to the end of August, Mondays and Tuesdays only. Everyone seems to be happy, as in the pilots and balloons aloft who have got to come down and do this. They're optimistic also, but ultimately it depends on how busy they are. That's why they were meant to be here all winter and have every day available to fly. But COVID, they got so busy that they just said, all we can do is give you Monday and Tuesday. So I was thankful for that at least, so it didn't fall flat on its face like it did 10 years ago for me. So, and it's been really spectacular. Really fun.
How bad does the weather have to be before you cancel it?
How bad does it have to be? Oh, you need some air movement, some wind, otherwise you don't know it. And so we've had 2 cancellations so far, so that's a pretty good indicator.
Yeah, cool.
So it can get...
It's pretty still that time of the morning anyway. Yeah.
We've been pretty lucky with the Mondays and Tuesdays.
Yeah. Okay.
Fate has been kind.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's good.
Hey? No. So one cancellation was due to no wind,
No,
right up to 10,000
wow.
feet.
Yeah.
And so you run the risk, especially because we're landlocked here with the national park and the lake. If you've got 0 wind and you gently drift across the lake, you don't want to run out of gas.
No.
So that's why one day got cancelled, and this last Tuesday got cancelled because it was going to be gross.
Good promo. Good promo.
Yeah.
One thing I would like to comment is my biggest pushback to me inviting people to come is scared of heights and too cold in the morning. It is quite cold when we go out in the morning and set up, but once you're actually in the balloon, you're floating with the wind. The basket is up quite high, it's quite snug, and you've got a 12-foot flame above your head.
Yeah.
So it's actually quite nice,
Yeah.
the basket. And as for the scared of heights, I used to crew in Canberra, and at least every basket there was 1 or 2 people who were really nervous and scared of heights. Not one person at the end of it wished they didn't do it. It moves so slowly and so gently, and the basket is up to here, so you feel quite secure. So one thing I will be doing as sort of an education thing is offering people who may not want to fly, but they still love the idea of it. Because just going out and launching the balloon, and then chasing the balloon, and then packing the balloon up, is an experience in itself. So I'll also be offering that as well. So people can come out, whether they've got loved ones going up or not. If they're just interested, they can come out, help set it up,
And just watch
chase
and help.
it down.
Yeah.
There's one thing about this pilot that I've got coming, which is the only pilot who I've worked with who's done it. They invite you to walk inside the actual balloon when it's deflated, and that's pretty magic as well. So that's the Rethink experience. The new thing that I've got going on is the Rethink laboratory. So I've got somewhere to play and experiment and do stuff. So you can see the top picture there, that's the shed in its current state, bit of a mess. I only moved in last week. But we've started on the first project, which is the picture below. That is a movable modular room. That room is 2.4 metres wide by 4 metres long. It's got 1 doorway and 3 windows. Underfloor heating, 4 power points. It can be moved as one piece and then put into place in a shed or a garage. It can be cladded and used outside, like a little outside office, studio, whatever, what have you. And it's also been designed that it can be pulled apart, so that if you can't get it inside your garage because your garage door is too small, we can pull it apart, take it in, set it up, happy days. It's even been designed so that we can pull it apart if you've got a 2.4 ceiling. It'll still fit because we pull all 4 walls up. We go and we put them together on the floor, and then we have a little trim around the top. which gets attached and butts up to your ceiling. So you've got a ready to go room. I've got a few prices on there, that's fairly self-explanatory. Moving on, so what this Rethink Sustainability business is based around is waste, trying to use waste. I'm quite passionate about the environment, and I get quite anxious when I see how much waste happens. It happens everywhere. I'm from building industry originally, and it's just shocking how much, like that tip, since I was a little kid, used to drive down into the tip, into this big hole right down the bottom. Now, you're driving up onto it. There's so much waste happening. It's not here, it's everywhere. That's what humans are like. So, my laboratory will be accepting waste, going out and collecting waste. I'll be having skips at building sites and people who have clean out city houses. Then I will charge them less than what they would get charged at the tip or used to or something like that. I'm not going to competition with you, Wally. It's a different surface. And then I will repurpose that stuff, right down to the smallest little bits of timber. The timbers that aren't treated, I'll be mulching. I've got a biofuel tank there to create gas. And I'm just doing all these experiments that are in his head are going to get done there. And if it grows leaves and can figure out a way to do it, happy days. You'll see in that picture there's my little hot air balloon there as well. Not mine. What else is there to talk about this? Available soon on the Rethink Sustainability side of things. So you'll be able to come and buy recycled materials like lengths of timber, pieces of ply, windows. I've got like $150,000 worth of windows, double glazed. Much of them came out of Parliament House, top quality stuff. So I've spent quite a few years making connections, networking to get this sort of stuff in. And I'm not only using it for my own tiny homes and rooms and building and furniture. You'll be able to come to the shed and buy stuff for your own projects at your house if you're passionate about sustainability. Now, the last little bit, one more minute. So that will be a multi-purpose facility, and I will be having some experiences out there as well. A couple of things that I'll be looking at getting up and going, hopefully in the next sort of 3 months or so. Will be a skate ramp, a modular bouldering cave, slack line, modular contract. There's a few things. This is a freebie pass, so come and have a ride. They're surprisingly easy. I'll do it without crashing, hopefully. It's got sensor pads up the front there. You'll sense my foot on there. Bring it up, and then it goes, locks in, and then you go.
There's a bump there.
So back for backwards, forwards for forwards. And the difference between this is it's got quite a wide wheel, one wheel, and so you can turn really, really tightly. Unlike a skateboard. Also unlike a skateboard, you don't have to take a foot off this. So your feet are always on there, so you're not trying to balance one foot and propel yourself using your foot.
Yeah.
It's all battery powered. It takes off quite fast.
Awesome. Thanks, Jason.
Well, that is certainly one transport solution. Another transport solution is a shuttle.
Yep.
Nicole.
Sorry, I'm not very quick. Ask us to give you. Thank you. So my name's Nicole, and I have bought recently Snowy Access this year. So Snowy Access is a transport, tour and transfer business. So we take people up to the hills, or we actually will just transport people usually, or do tours. We've done a few tours recently, and whether it be snowplay or whether it be tours of the area, photography, that sort of thing. I'm getting a video done, so it's not really done yet. Some of my friends doing that. So that's about all I have.
Yeah.
Is it a reservation type business?
Yeah, how do we book?
You got to ring up and book, or is it something is there a bus stop that we line up with, or how does it business
Oh no,
work?
no, no. It's a point-to-point transport license, so we're not a taxi. So you have to book it. Yeah.
Yep.
It's part of the license agreement, you know. And I do have a website. www.snowy-access.com.au, and it sort of gives you everything we do on there, but we're improving it all the time, trying to make it a little bit better. Got Facebook and planning on advertising, but we just haven't got there yet. But,
Can you cope with skis and mountain bikes? And
yeah,
that sort of thing?
so our car basically, the main car we've got is a Mercedes X-Class U with a canopy, so that's a 5-seater. We also have a Pajero that has a secondary type car for if you need like an extra car. I haven't expanded into a bus. I'm not a shuttle, like not a big group sort of that, but we can access 2 to 3 cars, but that's about
Yeah.
Hours of operation?
24.
24.
Wow.
So if you live in East Jindabyne,
I'm not really pick up because you're drinking service.
right, okay.
Yeah, unless you want to pay a lot of money, you know.
So if we did want to go out drinking, how much would we have to pay you?
Yeah.
You go out drink, like I had someone ring me up from, I think, Discovery Centre, and they said, it's not very far. And I said, yeah, but it's not very far for you to go into town, but it's like me getting to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have a minimum charge of like $100.
Yeah.
So if I have to get in the car, that's what I charge.
Yeah.
Mm.
But that's for the amount of people, so whether it be 6 or 4,
Yeah.
if it's a Pajero. So, and it sort of deters the drunk,
Yeah.
Mm.
you know. But if it's locals and friends, I just do it usually, but not as a.
So if somebody wants to have dinner in town and they live in East Jindabyne, for instance, or they live on top of, would you do that sort of arrangement?
I will if you
$100.
yeah, I will.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
Something
yeah.
like that.
Yeah, some people. What I've found so far is that people, if I tell them how much, and they go, oh no. So you know, one of them will drive then, you know.
Yeah.
But people don't understand. Like it's not that we're overly expensive, but you've still got you're creating a service, and I just have the set prices, and then if people want to do it, they do it.
In all seriousness, in Sydney, if you book an Uber at 11 or 12 o'clock at night to come home and you're 10, 12 k's out, you'll pay $60, $70 for that,
Yeah.
like at peak times. So it's a thing, like for example, if you did live in East Indian, there were 6 of you,
Yeah.
$100 there and $100 back is not, in my opinion, a huge
Excess.
amount of money to have
Yeah.
a big night out.
Yeah.
That's...
Yeah.
You can take that on a skateboard.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or swim, but it's possibly something for you to look into because there's a
Yeah.
lot of people moving in here now that are used to paying
Think in terms
that
of
kind
that.
of a night
Yeah.
out.
Yeah. Yeah. We're trying to focus on the day transport and
More
you know,
of that.
That night, you know, I will do, as I said, because I don't have that much work currently because we had so many cancellations. But you know, like it's just not something. It's not the base of my business.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not yet.
Only early morning sort of stuff and getting people up the mountain and back again. Yeah.
Or tours, you know. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Good,
Thank
good.
you.
Thank you.
You may want to join us on Tuesday at the bowling.
Yeah, I just thought.
Yeah, that would be-
I will.
yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
We need people who provide transport to give us an idea of the demand that's required.
Right, yeah.
The Chamber of Commerce relies heavily on memberships, and we've noticed
Do you need
that in
this?
the past years membership has always been a bit of a hurdle.
Right, that would do.
You know, who actually wants to pay hundreds of dollars to become a member of the Chamber, even though we provide these sort of events, and even though we do a lot of advocacy for local businesses and we bring events to the area. What we've thought of is actually changing the way that we do our membership structures. So while you can still pay an upfront fee once a year and then get sent an invoice to go ahead and pay it, we've thought about doing it as a subscription model. So rather than paying a lump sum, you pay a small amount every month and it continues on until you go ahead and stop it. So we're going along that sort of business model. That'll help hopefully some cash flow of some businesses. Also what we're doing is that we're offering 3 tiers of membership. And that tier of membership will be linked directly to what we provide in terms of advertising on the website, but also what sort of assistance you may be able to get from chamber members themselves, and particularly around the marketing side of things. So I've asked Nicole now to give us an idea of what we're doing when it comes to memberships.
Right, this is just so exciting. This is just such a lovely platform now to work with. So first of all, you've got your 3 levels. You've got the not-for-profits, and we've also got free listings, which I'll talk about later. But there's no reason why you can't pay monthly. You can flick over and upgrade if your business upgrades, or if your business retires, you can downgrade. It's all automated. It's all on the website, and it just comes out like any other subscription. You've got a login so that you've got total control over everything. You can just go in, cancel, upgrade, downgrade. You can also just ring us if you're having trouble, because we love to help you anyway, because this is my baby. So
Probably to give you a bit of context.
on the website, oh yes.
A bit of context is that the Chamber owns 2 domains.
Yeah.
Chamber of Commerce is one, and the other one is Destination Jindabyne. Destination Jindabyne is something that we've had in the background for quite a few years. It was developed in coordination with Council out of a government grant that was given to us on the
Future Towns grant, yeah.
Future Town plans years ago. Haven't really done much about it. As most businesses, as soon as you start to create a lot of assets, what do you do with them all? What we've decided to do is actually combine the 2 together and float our boat behind Destination Jindabyne. So that's the website that we're going to be taking forward as our public identity, which will then create, I think, a lot more opportunities for businesses to be promoted as a tourist organisation rather than just a business chamber, which has its limitations. So that's why this looks a little bit different from a Chamber of Commerce. This is Destination Jindabyne.
Yeah, so it's the original tourism site. So we've got now our Jindabyne Chamber of Commerce page, which you'll see the JCC up on the top of the menu bar. From there, you can also go to the business directory, and we'll have our blog starting to update again too for just chamber news. So on the chamber site, you've got all of our information regarding all of your different membership levels. And then how to apply or to look at your listing. So what happens now is when you're a member, you also get a listing on our directory, which also gives you all the hot links, how to get to your business, a full page on the website as well. And because we know that we're not going to, we'd love to, but we're not going to always, at no point are we ever going to have every single person who has a business in town become a member. We want this directory to be efficient and useful for the community. I don't want to come into a town as a tourist and have a look for somewhere where all the activity, adventure activities are, and only see 1 or 2 when it's a town like Jindabyne, because those 1 or 2 are the only ones that are a member of the chamber. Therefore, everyone in town who has a business gets a listing on our directory, and if you are a member, you have a much more upgraded level of directory listing. So basic directory listings can be, just like probably just like
Yellow pages, white pages?
Yeah.
So you get, quick link to the directions and quick link to phone number, but nothing else. But if you're an actual member, you'll get full listing. Let's do a search for mine. I spelled wrong. So when you become a full member, it's a full listing. You've got a verified listing, you've got links to everything, and actually this is an example of a where you start now. First of all, you go and see if your listing's already in the directory, because our database was fairly old.
Yeah.
We uploaded everything that we
What
had.
about 3 years ago? I think we did it. So yeah.
Or more, 5, 10 maybe. It's just
Yeah.
the original
Yeah.
database. So there'll be businesses there that don't exist anymore. There'll be businesses missing. So we're still going to be going through all of that to get it up to date. There'll be businesses without logos. We've tried to find logos so everything's updated and actually looking really nice. But so what we'll be doing very soon is we'll be spinning out lots of marketing. So you'll see the marketing on social as well about how to do it and what to do as far as claiming your listing, which gives you an opportunity to see what the chamber does too and what you can do and what you can get if you wanted to upgrade your listing into a membership, which would give you a full listing. So it's all very simple. As you go through, first of all, have a look for your listing.
Just see the claim.
And click.
The claim your listing. Just show people where that. Yeah, there it is, right in the bottom corner.
Process of getting access to that listing, so it'll give you a login, and you can go in and make changes, update your logo, make sure that your address and all that sort of detail is correct. So then anyone who hasn't got one up there yet, just go in and start the form, which is on our page on the JCC page.
There.
The JCC page is the form.
That's it there. Yep.
So just start filling that in. We'll get it, we'll approve you,
Yep.
then you'll have your listing. If you're also wanting to apply to become a chamber member, you'll go through that listing, and then it'll also take you through the payment process. You get to choose between annual or monthly with all the different levels, and all the details you'll see elaborating on about the levels, because they're all clearly in the tables.
Yep.
Regular connectivity, you'll be here to help people put listings on.
Yeah, look, just call, email, reach out, and we'll be reaching out to you anyway as well, to make sure that everyone gets on board and makes sure that they have access to the listings.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Ta-da.
Just a plug for the chamber. Obviously, we don't only run these sort of events. What we also do is advocate for local businesses. So we've been heavily involved in the SAP, and I think it would be fair stretch to say that the Jindabyne Chamber of Commerce probably started the process where to go Jindabyne. We advocated a long time with John Gower to give us the initial sets of money, and that of course led into what we've got now is SAP. So we spent a lot of time on this. We're only a bunch of volunteers. There's always room for more volunteers. So if you've got time and you want to spend some of that time on community projects and you've got a local business, it makes a lot of sense to join the chamber and potentially even join the executive. It's been a heavy night tonight, and I've seen some really tired eyes here. I want to thank you very much for having me here. He's had a whippily horrible day, this man. Horrible day today. He still came here and he did this for us. Thank you very much, and we'll see you again at the 4th Thursday in August. Thank you very much.